What if the mysterious object speeding through our solar system isn't just a comet, but something far more dangerous, capable of rewriting the future of Earth and its neighbours? The mystery of 3I Atlas has raised more questions than answers. If you're as intrigued as we are, make sure to like and follow for more updates on the object's journey and what we might discover next. Where do you think it came from? In the far reaches of interstellar space, an object that had been drifting for eons quietly crossed the boundary of our solar system. Its path was a cosmic needle threading its way through the vast emptiness of space, unnoticed by most, until it wasn't. For a brief moment it was a mere blip in the sky, a speck of light so faint that it barely caught the attention of astronomers already occupied with other cosmic wonders. But as it drew closer, something strange began to emerge from the data, the kind of anomaly that stops scientists dead in their tracks. It wasn't long before the object, now tagged as 3I Atlas, started showing signs of behaviour that defied every rule astronomers thought they knew. Initially, it seemed like just another comet. After all, the solar system has been visited by interstellar visitors before, tiny asteroids and comets like Oumuamua and Borisov. But 3I Atlas was different. Larger, faster, brighter and more bizarre in its behaviour than anything that had come before it. The moment it crossed the orbit of Jupiter, scientists began to realise this was no ordinary celestial visitor. It was as though the universe had thrown a curveball, one that nobody had anticipated, and it was headed straight toward us. Astronomers, guided by their predictive models, began watching the object closely. And that's when the real surprises started to unfold. What should have been a dim, slow-moving comet glowing faintly in the vastness of space was instead unusually bright. The object was emitting far more light than expected, especially considering its distance from the Sun. The usual rule was that comets begin to brighten only as they approach the Sun, when the heat triggers outgassing from their icy surfaces. But 3I Atlas was glowing far too soon, long before it even neared the inner planets. This should have been impossible, yet there it was, radiating far more light than its size and location should have allowed. The more they watched, the more baffling details emerged. Its size seemed off. Early estimates suggested a diameter larger than any comet or asteroid of this type. Some of the most sophisticated telescopes on Earth could barely resolve its shape, but they agreed on one thing. This object wasn't behaving like anything previously observed. It didn't follow the typical patterns of a comet or asteroid. It was an enigma. And then came the trajectory. Unlike typical interstellar objects that arrive at random angles from various directions, 3I Atlas seemed to be on a perfectly calculated path. Its trajectory aligned too precisely with the plane of our solar system, something so statistically unlikely that even the most seasoned astronomers began to whisper in disbelief. Its arrival wasn't a random event at all. This was no cosmic wanderer passing by Earth on a whim. This was a purposefully directed object, an object that seemed to know exactly where it was going. The more they analysed its path, the more peculiar it became. For one, the object's speed was higher than anything seen before in a visitor from another star system. This meant it wasn't just a passing wanderer, it was moving fast, far faster than any comet we'd ever studied. Its velocity suggested a force, perhaps gravity, was influencing its movement. And the more they calculated, the clearer it became. 3I Atlas was going to make a very close pass by Mars, and then continue on a trajectory that would take it out of our solar system, never to return. And then there were the chemical anomalies. Spectral readings showed traces of elements that shouldn't have been there, metals and compounds found in industrial processes. The readings were eerily similar to what you'd expect from a piece of technology, not a natural object. Some of the brightest minds in space science began to question the very nature of 3I Atlas. Could this object be a probe, an ancient piece of technology sent by a distant civilization? Or was it something far more sinister? The more they dug into its mysterious characteristics, the more the lines between natural and artificial blurred. But perhaps the most chilling anomaly was the complete silence from official sources. For days, the world waited for NASA and other space agencies to release high-resolution images of this interstellar object, something that could finally shed light on what 3I Atlas really was. But nothing came. The public was left in the dark while amateur astronomers posted blurry images from their own telescopes. The silence spoke volumes. Was this just a comet, Or was there something the space agencies knew that they weren't ready to reveal? 3I Atlas had arrived in our solar system with the subtlety of a whisper, and its presence would trigger questions and uncertainties that would reverberate throughout the world. Was it a harbinger of things to come? Or was it merely the beginning of a cosmic story we had only begun to understand? The arrival of 3I Atlas wasn't just a scientific mystery, it was the first clue in an unfolding story that could change everything humanity thought it knew about the universe. From the very moment 3I Atlas entered our solar system, it began revealing strange and unexplained characteristics that sent shockwaves through the scientific community. What should have been just another interstellar comet quickly turned into something far more unsettling. Early observations made by astronomers with some of the most advanced telescopes in the world suggested that this object wasn't behaving like anything they had seen before. Everything about 3I Atlas, from its chemical makeup to its movement, screamed anomaly. One of the most striking features of 3I Atlas was its outgassing behavior. Comets, as a rule, only start releasing gas and dust when they come closer to the Sun, where the heat from our star sublimates their icy bodies. This process creates the characteristic coma and tail that astronomers use to identify them. But 3 Atlas was different. From the moment it entered the outer reaches of our solar system, far beyond Jupiter's orbit, it began emitting gas. Not just a little, but enough to catch the attention of scientists. This premature outgassing raised an immediate red flag. Something about 3I Atlas was not following the usual rules of physics. The type of material that was coming off the object also didn't fit with what we'd expect from a typical comet. The gases detected by spectrographs didn't match the usual composition of water vapor and simple carbon compounds. There was something more complex in the mix, more industrial, more engineered. Astronomers found traces of elements that were rarely seen in cometary outgassing. Metals and alloys that suggested the presence of artificial materials. Could this be evidence of something inside 3I Atlas? Something built? If so, what was it? And who, if anyone, had made it? But the anomalies didn't stop with the outgassing. As more data came in, astronomers began to question the object's trajectory. Unlike most interstellar objects, which tend to follow erratic and unpredictable paths, 3I Atlas appeared to be on a well-defined, calculated course. This wasn't the random, free-floating motion of a comet, it seemed too deliberate. The object's trajectory aligned almost perfectly with the plane of our solar system. It passed by Venus, Mars, and Jupiter in a way that seemed to suggest it was not just travelling through the solar system, but was intentionally monitoring, or even targeting certain points. The idea that 3I Atlas was following a planned route raised questions about its origin. Was this a natural interstellar object that happened to be following an oddly precise path, or was it something far more purposeful? Could this be some kind of probe or reconnaissance mission sent from another civilization? The timing, the precision, and the strange alignment with key planets made it seem as though 3I Atlas had a mission, one that wasn't purely astronomical, but something more targeted. Then there was the size. Early estimates placed the object's diameter at a staggering 20 kilometers, far larger than most comets that enter our solar system. Even Oumuamua, the first interstellar object to be detected, was just 100 meters in length, a fraction of 3I Atlas's size. The sheer scale of 3I Atlas raised more questions. Was it truly a natural comet, or was it designed? And if it was designed, what was its purpose? The most disturbing thing, however, was the silence that followed. The scientific community, accustomed to receiving swift data and images from observatories, expected quick answers. But as 3I Atlas passed through the outer solar system, there was an unsettling absence of official statements. There were no press releases from NASA, no images from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, no breakthroughs announced by the European Space Agency. The object was right in the eye of the scientific community's attention, yet nothing came. The data was locked behind a curtain of secrecy, with only a handful of astronomers sharing their findings on social media, their reports spreading like wildfire. This silence only fueled the growing suspicion that there was something about 3I Atlas that was being hidden. Why were space agencies, usually so eager to share discoveries, staying quiet? Was there something they knew about 3I Atlas that they weren't prepared to reveal to the public? The more the silence grew, the more the whispers in the scientific community grew louder. Could 3I Atlas be a weapon, not a comet? Could it be a probe designed to observe, test, or even communicate with our planet? Or was it something older, something from a time far beyond our understanding, sent not to explore but to change the course of history? Each new observation, each new anomaly, only deepened the mystery. The scientific community was left grappling with one simple question. What was 3i Atlas, and what did it want from our solar system? The idea that it could be anything less than a celestial puzzle, perhaps a weapon, or even an ancient intelligence, was becoming increasingly hard to ignore. As the days passed and 3i Atlas continued its journey through our solar system, the stakes only grew higher. Was humanity looking at an interstellar visitor, or was it staring down the barrel of a cosmic weapon? The truth, it seemed, was waiting for us to discover it. But the closer we got, the more elusive the answers became. As 3i Atlas continued its journey through our solar system, one man's theory began to rise above the noise of the scientific community. Avi Loeb, a Harvard astrophysicist with a reputation for bold, unconventional ideas. While most scientists were still wrestling with the object's peculiarities, Loeb's hypothesis took the possibility of 3i Atlas being a natural comet and turned it on its head. What if this wasn't a comet at all? What if, instead, 3i Atlas was a weapon, a cosmic tool sent by an advanced civilization, an interstellar probe designed not just to observe, but to shape the future of our solar system? Loeb's theory was audacious, and it quickly became a topic of heated debate. For decades, scientists had operated under the assumption that anything that came from interstellar space, like 3i Atlas, was a natural object, a rogue asteroid or comet that had been ejected from its home star system millions of years ago. But Loeb's meticulous analysis of the object's behavior and trajectory led him to an uncomfortable conclusion. What if 3i Atlas was intentionally placed in our solar system for a reason? What if its arrival wasn't random but part of a much larger, far more deliberate plan? The more Loeb looked at the evidence, the clearer it became to him that 3i Atlas couldn't simply be a piece of space debris. First, there was the object's outgassing behavior. Comets typically begin to emit gas as they approach the Sun, when the heat causes the icy surface to sublimate. But 3i Atlas started releasing gas far earlier, when it was still beyond the orbit of Jupiter. This wasn't just a comet heating up. This was something different, something engineered. Loeb speculated that the outgassing was part of a larger mechanism, one that served a purpose beyond just a natural process. It was as if 3i Atlas had been activated long before it reached the inner solar system. Then there was the object's trajectory. While most interstellar objects arrive at random angles, 3i Atlas's path was almost eerily precise. It seemed to be headed straight for Mars, passing within a mere 29 million kilometers of the planet. This wasn't just a chance encounter. It was as if 3i Atlas had been specifically directed towards certain targets in our solar system. Could an advanced civilization have used its vast technological expertise to navigate such a precise path, planning to study, or even influence Mars? Loeb believed this wasn't an accident. The trajectory alone, so perfectly aligned with key points in our solar system, suggested a deliberate intent. But what was the purpose behind it all? Was it just an exploratory mission, like an advanced version of our own space probes sent to study distant planets? Or was there something more to 3i Atlas's presence in our solar system? Loeb didn't think it was just an observer. He believed that this object might have been sent with a specific goal in mind, one that had the potential to change the balance of power in our solar system. The most unsettling part of Loeb's hypothesis was the possibility that 3i Atlas was in fact a weapon. After all, when you look at the anomalies, the unnatural outgassing, the perfectly timed trajectory, and the object's incredible size and brightness, it's hard to shake the feeling that this is more than a random visitor from the depths of space. Could it be that 3i Atlas was sent by an advanced alien civilization, not to observe, but to test, to monitor, or even to reshape the solar system in ways we can't yet comprehend? Loeb's theory wasn't without its critics, of course. Many scientists still believed 3i Atlas was a natural object, albeit one that exhibited strange behavior. They argued that its trajectory could be explained by the influence of the Sun's gravity, and its outgassing could be a result of complex interactions between ice and sunlight. But Loeb wasn't convinced. To him, the evidence pointed to something far more deliberate. If 3i Atlas was a cosmic weapon, it could be a way for an advanced civilization to monitor our solar system or even subtly influence its development. And then there were the implications of such a theory. If 3I Atlas was indeed an interstellar weapon, what did that mean for us? Were we being watched, or worse, tested by a civilization far beyond our own? The thought of an alien intelligence out there, sending objects like 3I Atlas into our solar system, was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. It suggested that humanity might not be alone in the universe after all, and that there might be forces out there with the power to shape our destiny, whether we were aware of it or not. For some, Loeb's theory opened up a Pandora's box of possibilities. If 3I Atlas was indeed a weapon, it raised the possibility that we'd been the subject of a larger cosmic experiment, one that could have been going on for millennia. What was its ultimate goal? And were we ready to face the consequences of discovering that we weren't alone in the universe, at least not in the way we had always imagined? Loeb's hypothesis ignited a firestorm of speculation in the scientific community. It brought up questions not only about the nature of 3I Atlas, but about our place in the cosmos. Was humanity just another test subject in the grand scheme of the universe? Or were we a potential threat to forces far beyond our comprehension? The more Loeb's theory was discussed, the more it seemed that 3I Atlas wasn't just another object passing through our solar system. It might very well be the opening chapter of a much larger, far more complex story. One that, for better or worse, would shape humanity's future in ways we could never have predicted. As 3 Atlas hurtled through the outer reaches of our solar system, astronomers were glued to their screens, tracking its every move. At first, they marveled at its speed and size, but as more data poured in, a pattern began to emerge that was too uncanny to ignore. The object wasn't just drifting aimlessly through space. Its trajectory seemed to have been calculated with unnerving precision. It passed through key points in our solar system, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, all within a relatively narrow window, as though the object had been programmed to survey or interact with these planets. The odds of such a precise course, especially for an interstellar object that had travelled for millions of years, were so low that it defied any natural explanation. At first glance, the path of 3I Atlas might have seemed like a fluke, a random trajectory that just happened to line up with several planets. But as scientists began to delve deeper into the calculations, the statistical improbabilities became impossible to dismiss. The object was moving through our solar system with such meticulous timing and alignment that it was hard to believe this was anything but a carefully executed maneuver. Each planetary encounter seemed deliberate, not coincidence. It wasn't just passing through. It was interacting with the very gravitational forces of the solar system in a way that suggested intentional navigation. To put it in perspective, interstellar objects typically follow unpredictable orbits, influenced only by the gravitational pull of nearby stars and planets. These objects rarely, if ever, come close enough to major planets to make a significant impact. But 3I Atlas was different. Its trajectory brought it within a mere 29 million kilometers of Mars, relatively close by cosmic standards. Mars was the first major planet it encountered after entering the solar system, and its path suggested that this was no accident. The gravitational pull of Mars, Venus, and Jupiter was perfectly timed, as though 3I Atlas was using these planets to slingshot itself, gaining speed and altering its course as it passed. This wasn't the random path of a wandering object. It was as though the object was intentionally interacting with these planets, not just passing by. The odds of such an alignment happening naturally were staggeringly low. Statistically speaking, the likelihood of an interstellar object hitting the key points of the solar system, like 3I Atlas did, is practically zero. But here it was, moving through the solar system in what appeared to be a calculated pattern. The possibility that this trajectory was the result of sheer chance began to seem less plausible with every passing day. Some of the brightest minds in astronomy began to ask, what if this was not just a comet on a random trajectory? What if 3I Atlas wasn't just a celestial object passing by, but an advanced probe or device designed with a specific mission in mind? The way it interacted with our solar system, the way it used planetary gravity to adjust its speed and direction, suggested that this was more than just a passive visitor. It was as if it was collecting data, scanning the planets, or preparing for something larger. The gravitational slingshots could be a deliberate part of a carefully designed path intended to gather information or prepare for further action. For Loeb, this was the clinching piece of evidence. The trajectory was too perfect, too deliberate to be a coincidence. If 3I Atlas was simply a comet or asteroid ejected from its home system millions of years ago, how could it have followed such a precise route through our solar system? The object was interacting with our planets in a way that spoke to something purposeful, something that was using the gravity wells of Venus, Mars, and Jupiter not by chance but by design. This kind of precision was beyond what we would expect from a natural object. It was more akin to the maneuvering of a spacecraft or probe designed by an intelligence far beyond our own. The more data was collected, the more it became clear that 3I Atlas wasn't simply passing through. It was conducting a mission, whether to gather information, test some cosmic mechanism, or prepare for a larger purpose that we could only begin to fathom. The idea that this was a piece of alien technology sent with a specific purpose in mind began to gain traction, especially as more questions about its behavior arose. Why, for example, was it passing so close to planets that could help it adjust its trajectory? Why had it been placed on a path that brought it near these planets at exactly the right moments? In a way, the trajectory of 3I Atlas raised more questions than it answered. It was clear that something far more complex was at play here, something that didn't fit into the neat boxes we had built around our understanding of interstellar objects. Could it be that 3I Atlas was sent not just to pass through our solar system, but to study it? Or was it here to monitor or even influence the planets in some way? Could it be part of a much larger, more intricate plan that humanity was only beginning to uncover? As the object continued its journey, scientists and observers around the world were left to wrestle with the implications of its trajectory. The odds of such an exact alignment, of such purposeful navigation, seemed to confirm one thing. 3I Atlas was no accident. Whatever it was, it had been designed with a specific mission, one that was unfolding in real time before our eyes, and that, perhaps, was the most unsettling realization of all. When 3I Atlas first entered the outer reaches of our solar system, astronomers were quick to observe its strange and unexpected outgassing behavior. In a typical comet, outgassing, the release of gas and dust as the object heats up, only begins as it nears the Sun. The heat from the Sun causes the ices in the comet's nucleus to vaporize, creating a glowing coma and often a tail. It's a well-understood process, predictable, and tied directly to the Sun's warmth. But 3I Atlas didn't follow this rule. From the moment it entered the solar system, far beyond Jupiter's orbit, the object began releasing gas, much earlier than expected. It was as if it was waking up long before it should have. This early outgassing raised alarm bells in the scientific community. What was driving it? And more importantly, what did it mean for the object's true nature? The outgassing was particularly perplexing because of its magnitude and composition. While comets typically emit water vapor, carbon dioxide, and other simple gases as they approach the Sun, the outgassing from 3I Atlas seemed to include more complex and unusual elements. Spectral readings revealed traces of materials that didn't fit with the expected chemistry of a standard comet. The gases were richer in carbon compounds, and more notably, there were indications of metal alloys and other industrial materials that you wouldn't normally associate with icy bodies from deep space. This wasn't just an icy chunk of space debris releasing a cloud of simple water vapor, it was releasing something far more intricate. What was inside 3I Atlas? And could the outgassing be an indication of something far more intentional than just a random natural occurrence? To make matters more intriguing, the outgassing didn't seem to be the result of solar radiation alone. Typically, a comet's outgassing is driven by the Sun's heat, causing its ices to sublimate. The closer the object gets to the Sun, the more intense the outgassing becomes. But 3I Atlas was already exhibiting this behavior long before it reached the inner solar system. This anomaly led scientists to speculate that there might be something else at work, some internal mechanism or process that was actively driving the outgassing. Was the object's structure more complex than a simple icy rock? Was there a hidden engine or system inside 3I Atlas, actively releasing gases for a reason beyond the usual sublimation? This idea that 3I Atlas could be emitting gases due to an internal mechanism, or even that it could be part of an artificial structure, sent ripples through the scientific community. The possibility that the object was somehow activated before it even entered the region where the Sun could exert significant gravitational influence challenged everything we thought we knew about comets. Could this be a probe from an advanced civilization? Was it designed to release specific gases as part of a larger plan? Or could this early outgassing be a sign of some kind of malfunction, a cosmic accident, or something else entirely? The composition of the gases was equally intriguing. Simple water vapour and carbon dioxide were expected, but there was also a noticeable presence of organic compounds, ones that could suggest that 3 Atlas had come into contact with some form of alien technology, or that it was intentionally emitting certain materials. The traces of metal alloys in the outgassing were particularly odd. Scientists were left to wonder, was the object made of materials far more sophisticated than any natural comet could be? Or were these materials a byproduct of an unknown process inside the object? The chemistry pointed toward a manufactured, not natural origin. The mysteries surrounding the outgassing didn't stop there. The release of gases seemed to be carefully controlled, as though the object was in some way choosing when and how to emit them. If 3I Atlas were a natural object, such an orchestrated release would be highly improbable. This raised further suspicions about the true purpose of the outgassing. Was it a sign of communication, of some kind of cosmic message or signal being sent? Or was it a deliberate action to activate a mechanism buried deep inside the object? At this stage, the question that loomed largest was not just about the chemistry of the outgassing, but what it meant for 3I Atlas's true nature. Could this be a message, a test of some kind? Or was the object part of a larger plan, an advanced alien probe sent to observe, interact with, or perhaps even manipulate the solar system? The fact that the outgassing started so far from the Sun, and the complexity of the gases involved, pushed the object further from the realm of the natural and squarely into the territory of the engineered. With each new observation, the idea that 3I Atlas was simply a rogue comet became harder to accept. The outgassing wasn't just an anomaly, it was a clue, a hint that this object might be something far more complex than anyone had anticipated. Something that was emitting gases not out of necessity, but out of design. Whatever 3 Atlas was, it wasn't just a wandering chunk of space ice. It was something with purpose, and the early outgassing was perhaps the first sign of its true mission, one that was only beginning to unfold before us. The mystery of its chemistry had only just begun, and the questions it raised were far more unsettling than any simple explanation could provide. From the moment 3I Atlas was first detected, astronomers were taken aback not only by its unusual trajectory and outgassing patterns, but also by something far more striking: its shape. Unlike most comets, which typically present themselves as irregular, blurry, and diffuse blobs of ice and dust, 3I Atlas appeared to be distinctly elongated, almost cylindrical in nature. The object's smooth, nearly geometric form didn't match the chaotic, disorganized structure one might expect from a comet. It was unlike anything the scientific community had ever seen before. At first, many dismissed the unusual shape as a trick of the light, a result of image processing, or perhaps the object's motion through space. After all, comets tend to be shrouded in a hazy coma of gas and dust that can distort their true form, especially when viewed from afar. But the more amateur astronomers and space agencies observed 3I Atlas, the more undeniable it became. The object's shape was not just an optical illusion, it appeared to be real. Several independent observers, working with different telescopes and imaging techniques, began to report the same striking feature: an elongated cylindrical object, not a typical spherical or irregular comet. This discovery raised a number of questions. Could this object really be shaped like a giant elongated cylinder, or was there something else at play? Astronomers were quick to note that such a perfect shape would be highly unusual for a comet. The irregular, uneven shapes of most comets are the result of the forces acting on them as they travel through the solar system, often influenced by the rotation of the object, the uneven sublimation of its surface, or gravitational interactions. But 3 Atlas, it seemed, was not conforming to these natural patterns. Some scientists suggested that the elongated shape could simply be an artifact of its movement through space. As it sped through the solar system, the shape could have appeared more stretched out due to the way light interacted with the object. However, this theory began to lose ground as more high-resolution images came in, showing a consistent angular shape that didn't seem to change, even as the object moved. The conclusion that some scientists were beginning to entertain, albeit cautiously, was that 3I Atlas's shape could actually be intentional. The more astronomers thought about it, the more it seemed like the cylindrical shape might not be a product of chance, but a deliberate design. A comet is typically a haphazard collection of ice and rock, its form shaped by the forces of nature as it hurtles through space, but a cylindrical shape. That seemed far too precise for something that was supposed to be a natural object. The smoothness of the shape, the lack of irregularities that might normally appear in a comet's structure, suggested that 3I Atlas could be something manufactured, not naturally occurring. This led to one of the most unsettling possibilities. Could 3I Atlas be a probe, or worse, a weapon, sent by an advanced civilization? The idea of a long, cylindrical object drifting through our solar system seemed to match the design of many man-made spacecraft. But the sheer size of the object, a size far greater than anything our own space probes could achieve, suggested that this was no human design. It was far older, far more advanced. Could this object have been intentionally crafted to look this way? And if so, why? The cylindrical shape also raised questions about the object's purpose. If it was a probe designed to gather data on our solar system, its shape could make sense. A long, sleek design might be more aerodynamic, allowing it to travel through space with less resistance. But what about the possibility of it being a weapon? A perfectly cylindrical shape could be more than just practical. It could also be symbolic, a design that suggests intelligence, purpose, and precision. The idea that this object might have been crafted with a specific goal in mind, whether to study, influence, or even reshape our solar system, gained traction in the scientific community. But there were also skeptics who pointed to the possibility of a visual distortion. The object's distance from Earth and the effects of space dust, radiation, and light could all have combined to create the illusion of a perfect, elongated form. It was true that comets could sometimes appear elongated if they were moving quickly through space, or if they were being observed from an unusual angle. However, the consistency of the reports, the lack of significant distortion in the images, and the smoothness of the shape led many to question whether the explanation could be that simple. In the end, the debate over 3I Atlas's shape became emblematic of the larger questions surrounding the object. Was it a natural phenomenon that was behaving in strange ways? Or was it something more, an object created by intelligence, a product of design? The object's strange, elongated form seemed to hint at something far more complex than a random space, rock. It was as if 3I Atlas was holding secrets within its shape, a riddle that humanity was only beginning to comprehend. Could it be that the key to understanding the true nature of 3I Atlas lay not just in its trajectory or chemistry, but in its very form? As the world watched 3 Atlas make its way through our solar system, a surprising and unsettling development began to unfold in the shadows of the scientific community. A group of remote viewers, trained to perceive information beyond the physical realm, claimed to have gathered startling insights about the object, insights that could not be explained by conventional science. These remote viewers, some of whom were well-respected figures in the field, began to report something extraordinary. 3 Atlas was not just a random interstellar object, but an artificial construct, possibly a piece of technology far beyond our comprehension. Even more chilling, they described an object buried deep within 3I Atlas, a device encoded with information that could reveal secrets about the object's origins and purpose. The first remote viewing session that captured public attention was nothing short of mind-bending. The viewer, a former military intelligence officer trained in the art of psychic observation, had been given a set of coordinates with no context, just a blank canvas, a piece of deep space that, in theory, held no particular significance. She described perceiving the object as a large cylindrical structure, but it wasn't just a simple space rock. There was something inside it, a core that didn't seem natural. It was a device, something small yet powerful, hidden within the object itself, like a time capsule from an ancient civilization. The device was encoded, the viewer explained, as though it contained a message, a piece of technology meant to be uncovered. The details provided by the remote viewer were eerily specific. She described the device as ancient, suggesting that it had been there for eons, perhaps placed inside 3I Atlas long before it entered our solar system. The encoded technology, she explained, was not just an artifact, it was a functional piece of equipment, designed with a purpose. What was that purpose? Was it meant to communicate with us, or was it simply a relic from a long-forgotten civilization? The viewer insisted that the technology was far beyond anything humanity had developed, far beyond anything we could easily comprehend. The implications of these revelations were immediately apparent. If 3I Atlas was indeed an artificial object, it would be the first confirmed interstellar probe, perhaps even a relic from a civilization far older and more advanced than our own. Could it be that the object was sent here on purpose, to deliver a message or to test humanity in some way? Was it possible that buried within this ancient device, there was a signal waiting to be decoded, a communication from a civilization that existed long before us, from a time and place we could only imagine? As the remote viewing sessions continued, more viewers came forward with their own impressions of 3I Atlas. Some saw the object as a vessel, perhaps a dormant spacecraft, while others described it as a sentient entity, an intelligence that was somehow aware of its surroundings and the objects around it. They spoke of a pulse emanating from the object, as though it were alive, communicating in ways we couldn't yet understand. Was 3I Atlas simply a silent observer of our solar system, or was it actively trying to make contact? What made these revelations even more unnerving was the consistency between the different remote viewers' reports. Despite coming from different backgrounds and having no knowledge of each other's sessions, their descriptions of 3I Atlas were remarkably similar. They all described the object as not just a comet or asteroid, but something far more intentional, a construct, a piece of technology, perhaps even a weapon. And within that technology there appeared to be something buried, something encoded waiting to be unlocked. These claims, coming from a group of remote viewers rather than the traditional scientific community, were naturally met with skepticism. Remote viewing has long been a controversial practice, with critics dismissing it as pseudoscience or mere coincidence. But as the reports from the remote viewers grew more detailed and consistent, the scientific community began to take notice. Some researchers began to ask, could there be more to this than we're willing to admit? Could 3I Atlas contain a hidden message, one that might reveal its true purpose and origins? As 3 Atlas continued its journey toward the sun, the world was left grappling with the question, what exactly are we dealing with? Could this object, which had so far defied our understanding of interstellar visitors, be a tool for communication, a relic from an ancient advanced civilization? The idea that 3I Atlas might hold a message, encoded within its very structure, hidden in plain sight, was both tantalizing and terrifying. Could it be that humanity had stumbled upon the greatest discovery of our time, a discovery that would change our understanding of the universe forever? Or was it simply a mirage, a product of overactive imaginations? The truth, as always, remained elusive, but one thing was certain. The remote viewing revelations had added another layer of mystery to 3I Atlas, a mystery that no one, not even the most seasoned scientists, could easily explain away. Whether or not there was truly something buried within the object, an ancient encoded technology, or a message from another civilization, remained to be seen. But the questions raised by these revelations were impossible to ignore. 3 Atlas had become far more than just a comet from another star system. It was now a puzzle, a cosmic riddle, and perhaps the key to a story that stretched far beyond our understanding of space and time. The arrival of 3I Atlas in our solar system not only disrupted modern scientific understanding, but also reignited a long-dormant conversation about ancient myths and their potential relevance to the object's appearance. Among the most intriguing connections being drawn was the link between 3I Atlas and the ancient Sumerian writings that describe a race of gods known as the Anunnaki. These deities, according to Sumerian mythology, came from a distant world, often thought to be located in the constellation of Sagittarius, the very region from which 3I Atlas was travelling. This startling alignment sparked a new wave of interest in the Sumerian texts, raising the question, could these ancient myths have been describing something far more tangible than mere legend? Could the Anunnaki have had some connection to the arrival of 3I Atlas, and if so, what did this mean for our understanding of the object? The Anunnaki, according to Sumerian mythology, were not just gods but powerful beings who came from the stars to Earth. Their role in these ancient texts was often linked to creation myths, the origins of human civilization, and even the genetic engineering of humanity. Sitchin's controversial work on the Anunnaki, most notably in his book The 12th Planet, proposed that these gods originated from a planet called Nibiru, which he theorized entered our solar system in a highly elliptical orbit. Sitchin suggested that Nibiru's arrival had been a major influence on the development of life on Earth, with the Anunnaki imparting knowledge of technology, agriculture, and civilization to early humans. However, it's the direction from which the Anunnaki were said to have come that has begun to take on new significance in light of Three-Eye Atlas. The constellation of Sagittarius, where Three-Eye Atlas is believed to have originated, has been described in ancient Sumerian texts as the place of the gods. In fact, the star system near Sagittarius was long associated with the birthplace of the Anunnaki. This celestial alignment between ancient myth and modern discovery cannot be ignored. Could it be that the arrival of Three-Eye Atlas, an object now linked to a series of anomalies that seem far beyond natural explanation, is somehow connected to these ancient gods? More importantly, could the Anunnaki have left behind some kind of cosmic technology or message that Three-Eye Atlas now serves as a conduit for? The idea that Three-Eye Atlas could be more than just an ordinary interstellar object and could potentially be linked to the Anunnaki has sent ripples through both the scientific and speculative communities. Some have suggested that if Three-Eye Atlas is a product of intelligent design, it could be part of an ancient plan, perhaps one that involves the testing or monitoring of humanity. Was the object deliberately sent to observe Earth, or even to communicate with us in a way that we are only beginning to comprehend? The parallels between the Sumerian myth and the mysterious behaviour of Three-Eye Atlas are certainly striking. What makes this connection even more compelling is the timing of the object's arrival. The Anunnaki were said to have returned to Earth after a long absence, and Sumerian texts described their periodic return as being part of a cycle. If these ancient texts have any basis in reality, it's possible that Three-Eye Atlas is a part of that very cycle, arriving at a moment when the human race is advancing technologically and potentially becoming a threat to other intelligent civilizations. Could the arrival of Three-Eye Atlas be an omen, signalling the beginning of the next phase in this ancient cosmic drama? The potential connection between the Anunnaki and Three-Eye Atlas raises questions about whether this object was sent to prepare or even control humanity's next steps in its technological development. One of the most chilling implications of this connection is the idea that Three-Eye Atlas might not be a solitary visitor. If the Anunnaki, or other advanced civilizations from Sagittarius, have been periodically visiting our solar system for millennia, it's possible that Three-Eye Atlas is merely the latest in a long line of interstellar objects sent to monitor or even influence human evolution. This raises unsettling questions about the nature of our existence. Are we truly the product of an independent evolutionary process, or were we shaped by outside forces, guided and influenced by an advanced race with its own agenda? Some researchers have gone so far as to suggest that the object could be a cosmic weapon, much like the Anunnaki's supposed tools of power described in the ancient texts. The Sumerians believed that the gods had advanced technology capable of reshaping the earth, controlling the elements, and even manipulating the very fabric of reality. Could Three-Eye Atlas, with its strange outgassing cylindrical shape and purposeful trajectory, be a relic of this ancient technology? Was it sent here to either monitor Earth's development or prepare for a larger intervention in the near future? The more one examines the connection between the Sumerian Anunnaki myths and Three-Eye Atlas, the more it becomes clear that there's a thread running through history, stretching from the distant past to the present moment. The parallels are too striking to be dismissed outright. Could it be that the Sumerian texts, dismissed by many as mere mythology, were actually describing a deep, cosmic truth that we are only now beginning to rediscover? If Three-Eye Atlas is truly linked to the Anunnaki or some other advanced civilization, then the implications for humanity are profound. The object may not be just a visitor from another star system. It could be the catalyst for a much larger, far more intricate story, one that has been unfolding across eons and is now reaching its next chapter. As Three-Eye Atlas continues its journey through the solar system, we are left to wonder, are we the subjects of an ancient cosmic plan, and what role will we play in the unfolding of this age-old narrative? For centuries, Mars has captured the human imagination as a potential second home for humanity. Its proximity to Earth, its resemblance to our own planet, and its long-standing status as the subject of scientific study have all contributed to the idea that Mars could one day be habitable. Yet despite decades of exploration and research, Mars has remained a cold, barren world with no definitive evidence of past or present life. That is, until the arrival of 3I Atlas, an object that has left scientists questioning whether Mars's long-standing lifelessness is about to change in ways no one could have predicted. From the moment 3I Atlas entered the solar system, astronomers began to notice its strange and precise trajectory, which brought it perilously close to several planets, including Mars. While most interstellar objects pass through our solar system without interacting in any meaningful way with our planets, 3I Atlas's path seemed deliberate, as though it had been engineered to pass near key points. As the object neared Mars, something even more unusual began to happen. The outgassing from 3 Atlas, which had already puzzled scientists, seemed to increase in intensity, and the chemical composition of the gases it was emitting appeared to match exactly what would be needed to influence the Martian atmosphere. Mars, as we know, has a thin atmosphere that is primarily made up of carbon dioxide, with only trace amounts of water vapour. Despite years of study, no significant signs of life have been found, and the planet's surface is inhospitable, with freezing temperatures and an atmosphere too thin to support life. Yet, some scientists have long speculated that Mars may have once harboured life. The question of whether Mars could ever become habitable again has been central to the aspirations of space agencies, with plans for terraforming the planet a long-standing topic of debate. Could it be that 3I Atlas is somehow connected to these efforts in ways we've only just begun to understand? The most striking possibility is that 3I Atlas could be deliberately altering Mars's atmosphere, slowly transforming it to make the planet more habitable. The object's outgassing, which began long before it reached the inner solar system, has continued to increase as it passed through the orbits of Venus, Earth, and now Mars. Early analysis of the gases released by 3 Atlas shows a remarkable chemical signature, one that mirrors the key ingredients needed for atmospheric transformation. The mix of carbon dioxide, water vapour and other gases could be just the right combination to begin triggering a greenhouse effect on Mars, gradually warming the planet and thickening its atmosphere. Could 3I Atlas be intentionally releasing these compounds to kickstart the terraforming process? If this theory holds any truth, it would suggest that 3I Atlas is not merely an interstellar object passing through our solar system. It could be an engineered device, designed with the express purpose of making Mars more hospitable, perhaps even for a specific yet unknown civilization or species. The implications of this possibility are staggering. Mars has long been considered a potential site for human colonization, but the idea that another intelligence could have been actively working to make the planet habitable long before we ever considered it, well, that would change everything we thought we knew about Mars, the solar system, and our place in the universe. As 3I Atlas continues its path toward the Sun, the evidence suggests that the object's influence on Mars might not be limited to just a single pass. The changes to Mars's atmosphere, while subtle, could be the beginning of a gradual transformation that spans decades, if not centuries. Could this be the first step in a larger plan to make the planet habitable for an advanced species, one that already has a vested interest in the planet? And if so, what does that mean for humanity's aspirations to colonize Mars? The possibility that 3I Atlas is altering the Martian atmosphere raises profound questions about the true purpose of the object. Is it an accidental side effect of its passage through the solar system? Or is it part of a deliberate strategy to prepare Mars for an eventual inhabitation? Could it be that Mars is not just a potential new home for humans, but for another far older civilization that has been monitoring and manipulating the planet for millennia? The timing of 3I Atlas's arrival could not be more significant. As humanity ramps up its efforts to explore and colonize Mars, the idea that another intelligence might be subtly influencing the planet raises uncomfortable questions about our own place in the solar system. Are we simply latecomers to the cosmic game, unaware of forces at work far beyond our understanding? And if 3I Atlas is indeed part of a larger terraforming operation, could it be that we are not the first to attempt to make Mars habitable? Could we be stepping into a story that has been unfolding for centuries, one that we have only just begun to comprehend? The more scientists study 3I Atlas and its effects on Mars, the more it becomes clear that the object's role in our solar system may be far more profound than anyone could have imagined. Whether or not it is directly responsible for altering Mars's atmosphere remains to be seen, but the possibility that this object is playing a role in the planet's transformation is impossible to ignore. As we continue to look to Mars as the next frontier, we must also grapple with the unsettling thought that there may be others who have had a hand in shaping its future long before us. As scientists continue to monitor the progress of 3I Atlas through our solar system, one hypothesis has emerged that sends a chill down the spine of those considering the object's true purpose. Some have proposed that 3I Atlas may not just be a passing visitor, but an integral part of a much larger terraforming operation, an engineered device designed to alter the Martian environment and make the planet more suitable for life. If this theory holds any weight, it raises a host of unsettling questions. What if 3I Atlas was sent to transform a dead world, a world that has long been considered inhospitable, into something capable of supporting life? More disturbingly, if 3I Atlas is part of a larger terraforming operation, who or what is behind this plan, and what does it mean for humanity's future? The theory hinges on the striking chemical signature of 3I Atlas's outgassing. Over the course of its journey through the solar system, astronomers have carefully analysed the gases released by the object, and the results have been nothing short of astonishing. The mixture of carbon dioxide, water vapour and other gases detected in the outgassing closely mirrors the key ingredients needed to kickstart the greenhouse effect on Mars. Scientists have long theorised that to terraform Mars, thickening its atmosphere, warming its surface, and eventually creating conditions conducive to liquid water, an influx of greenhouse gases, particularly carbon dioxide, would be required. The gases emitted by 3I Atlas appear to fit this exact profile. The fact that the object began releasing these compounds even before it reached the inner solar system suggests that this process could be intentional, not a mere byproduct of its passage through space. If 3I Atlas is indeed a terraforming device, the implications are profound. First, it suggests that Mars's inhospitable environment may not be a permanent state. The object's influence on the Martian atmosphere, if sustained, could gradually begin to raise the planet's temperature, thicken its atmosphere, and unlock the potential for liquid water on its surface. For decades, scientists have speculated about the possibility of terraforming Mars, but the idea that someone, or something, might already be actively working toward that goal raises the stakes considerably. What if Mars is not just a target of human ambition, but the focus of an ancient, far more advanced terraforming project? And if 3I Atlas is part of that operation, what is the endgame? The possibility that 3I Atlas is a device created with the specific goal of altering Mars's environment suggests that the object's ultimate purpose may extend far beyond the simple idea of a planet becoming more Earth-like. If we follow this line of thinking, the changes to Mars's atmosphere could be part of a long-term strategy to make the planet more habitable for something or someone else. This raises the unnerving question: is humanity simply a bystander in a much larger plan that has been unfolding for eons? Could Mars, with its proximity to Earth, have always been a potential staging ground for forces far more powerful than anything humanity can comprehend? The timing of 3I Atlas's arrival only adds to the sense that this is no random event. It comes at a moment when human space exploration is on the brink of its next great leap, with plans to send astronauts to Mars within the next decade. Could this be more than just coincidence? Could 3I Atlas be observing or even influencing humanity's growing interest in the red planet? Perhaps its arrival is not a mere natural occurrence, but a deliberate part of a larger strategy that spans generations, millennia, or even longer. If 3I Atlas is a tool in a grand terraforming project, what role are we meant to play in this cosmic plan? Are we too being subtly influenced by an unseen hand? One of the most chilling aspects of this theory is the possibility that 3I Atlas could be just one of many objects involved in a slow-moving terraforming process. The outgassing from the object is likely only the beginning. Over time, the introduction of more gases, combined with the manipulation of the Martian atmosphere, could lead to more drastic changes. But what if this process isn't just about making Mars habitable for us? What if it's a process intended for something, or someone, else? Could the object be part of an ongoing terraforming project for an intelligence far older than humanity? Perhaps 3I Atlas is just the first step in an ancient plan, one that humanity is only now beginning to stumble upon. In considering the implications of this theory, we must also ask, who is behind this terraforming effort? If 3I Atlas is indeed an engineered object, then its creators must possess technology far beyond our current capabilities. This raises the possibility that the planet Mars, with its long-held potential for human colonization, might not be the only goal. What if the creators of 3i Atlas have far grander ambitions for the solar system? Could Mars be a stepping stone in a much larger plan to influence, reshape, or even control the entire system? If this hypothesis is correct, we may be witnessing the first hints of a much larger and more intricate cosmic scheme, one that humanity is not yet equipped to fully understand. As 3 Atlas continues to travel through our solar system, the questions surrounding its purpose only grow more urgent. If this object is truly part of a terraforming operation, we are witnessing a process that could have profound implications for our understanding of the universe, our place within it, and the forces that may be watching us from afar. Whether or not 3i Atlas is an instrument of change for Mars, one thing is clear: the object's arrival has triggered a series of revelations, both scientific and existential, that may alter the course of human history forever. What began as a scientific curiosity has quickly transformed into a cosmic mystery, and with it, the realization that the forces shaping our destiny might be far greater than we ever imagined. When 3 Atlas first entered our solar system, astronomers were quick to observe its many peculiarities, but among the most striking features of the object was something that seemed almost otherworldly: a green glow that surrounded it like a halo. This glow, visible even from Earth through telescopes, was unlike anything astronomers had seen before. The phenomenon was so unusual that it immediately captured the attention of both scientists and the public alike. It wasn't just a faint shimmer of light, it was an intense, distinct green hue, one that seemed to defy the natural laws of physics. Given the object's distance from the Sun, such a glow should have been impossible. So why was it happening? What was behind this eerie green radiance, and what could it reveal about the true nature of 3i Atlas? In a typical comet, outgassing of gases like water vapour and carbon dioxide creates a faint glow, or coma, as the solar wind interacts with the gas and dust. But 3i Atlas wasn't exhibiting the typical behaviour. The green glow didn't follow the expected patterns of cometary outgassing. It wasn't simply a byproduct of solar radiation acting on the object's surface. The intensity and colour of the glow suggested something far more sophisticated. After all, for such a distinct green glow to emerge, there must be a source of energy or a chemical reaction far more complex than what a simple comet could produce. Scientists have long known that certain chemical reactions can produce green light, notably the emission of light from the ionized gas of diatomic carbon, C2. Comets are known to release this molecule when they get closer to the Sun, but this process usually happens much closer to the Sun, where solar radiation is much stronger. 3i Atlas, however, was still far beyond the orbit of Jupiter when the green glow first appeared. At that distance, the Sun's energy would be weak, insufficient to trigger such a strong and specific light emission. So, if solar radiation wasn't the cause, what was? Some scientists have suggested that the green glow might be the result of some kind of interaction between the object's surface and cosmic rays or other high-energy particles. Yet, this still doesn't fully explain the consistency and intensity of the glow, nor does it account for the sustained nature of the emission. If 3i Atlas were merely a comet, we would expect its light to vary as it passed through the solar system, with the green glow appearing and fading depending on its distance from the Sun. But that wasn't the case. The glow was steady and persistent, almost as if it were being artificially sustained. This raises the unsettling possibility that the green glow is not a natural phenomenon at all, but instead the result of some kind of advanced technology hidden within or attached to 3i Atlas. Could the object be emitting the glow as part of an intentional process? Was the green light a signal, a form of communication, or perhaps even an active mechanism designed to interact with the surrounding environment? The idea that 3i Atlas might be more than a mere space rock has grown more compelling with every observation. The green glow could be a byproduct of an alien or artificial technology that is powering the object's movement, maintaining its systems, or even acting as a beacon. The technology behind the glow is still unknown, but its implications are staggering. If 3i Atlas is an artificial object, the green light could be the first sign that we are dealing with a highly sophisticated piece of alien technology, possibly from a civilization far more advanced than our own. The fact that the object has been active in such a visible and deliberate way could point to a deliberate mission, one that has been carefully orchestrated. Perhaps the green glow is meant to signal something, either to us or to other interstellar travellers. Is 3i Atlas an ancient probe sent to observe our solar system, or is it actively engaged in some larger long-term project that spans galaxies and eons? If we are to consider the possibility that this glow is intentional, we must also ask, what is its purpose? Could the green glow be a way for 3i Atlas to interact with its surroundings, harnessing energy from the sun or some other source to power its mechanisms? Or is it some form of surveillance, a way for the object to mark its presence, a subtle method of communicating with anyone, human or otherwise, who might be watching? The consistency of the glow, despite the vast distance from the sun, suggests that whatever is powering it isn't reliant on traditional solar energy. Perhaps 3i Atlas is self-sustaining, drawing on some other form of power that is not immediately apparent to us. The more we consider the implications of the green glow, the more it becomes apparent that 3i Atlas may not be a passive object drifting through space. It could be a beacon, a signal, or even a probe from a far-off civilization, actively communicating in ways we're only beginning to understand. If 3i Atlas is using technology far beyond our current capabilities, the green glow might be a hint, just a small glimpse, into the kind of technology that exists beyond the edges of our comprehension. The fact that it appears at all, and in such a deliberate and consistent way, raises the terrifying possibility that we are not simply looking at a cosmic visitor, but at the first sign of something far more purposeful, far more intelligent, and far more powerful than anything humanity has ever encountered before. The mystery of the green glow remains unsolved, but it continues to captivate those who are closely following the journey of 3i Atlas. As the object moves deeper into our solar system, its true nature may finally be revealed, and as we unlock the secrets of this glowing phenomenon, we may come closer to understanding the true purpose of 3i Atlas, whether it is an ancient artifact, a cosmic weapon, or something else entirely. Whatever it is, the green glow serves as a stark reminder that, in the vastness of the universe, the unknowns are far more numerous than the answers we have yet to find. As 3i Atlas continues its journey through our solar system, more and more questions emerge, each more unsettling than the last. What if this object, which initially seemed like a bizarre comet or interstellar wanderer, is something far more dangerous? A weapon designed not just to observe, but to trigger an event that could alter the course of our solar system's history forever. The idea that 3i Atlas could be an instrument of destruction, a force with a purpose far beyond mere exploration, is gaining traction among a growing number of scientists and theorists. What if it wasn't just drifting aimlessly through space, but rather moving deliberately, with a specific goal in mind? Could this object be sent to destabilize our planetary system, or even transform it in ways that humanity would never be able to reverse? The idea of 3i Atlas as a weapon first began to take root when astronomers noticed how the object's behavior seemed too purposeful, too intentional, to be merely the result of random chance. Its trajectory, its outgassing, and even its strange green glow all pointed to something engineered, something designed for a reason. But the most chilling possibility of all is that the object is not merely an advanced interstellar probe, but a device created with the intent to manipulate, control, or even destroy parts of our solar system. Could 3i Atlas be the first wave in an interstellar weapon system aimed at reshaping our environment, destabilizing our planets, or even paving the way for a much larger cosmic plan? When you examine the data about 3i Atlas, its path seems unnervingly precise. Its trajectory is calculated, purposeful. It doesn't behave like a random comet passing through the solar system. The fact that it has made close passes near Venus, Mars, and Jupiter isn't a mere coincidence. It's as if it has been carefully navigating our solar system, choosing key moments and locations to make its presence known. Could this be the beginning of a series of planned interactions that will alter the balance of power in the solar system? Or could it be that the object's very presence is meant to destabilize the natural order of our celestial neighborhood, triggering events that will echo throughout time? The more scientists observe 3i Atlas, the more they realize that its behavior seems far from natural. The object's outgassing, which began long before it even reached the inner solar system, suggests that it is powered by some unknown mechanism, something that isn't simply the result of heat or solar radiation. If this object is indeed an artificial creation, its design could be as deliberate as its journey. Its very presence could be part of an overarching strategy to alter the solar system itself, to create conditions that are more favourable to whatever intelligence or force sent it? What if 3i Atlas is more than just a scout or probe? What if it is a part of a larger, terrifying plan to change the fate of this solar system? The implications of such a theory are chilling. Could this object be the precursor to something more catastrophic? Could it be setting the stage for a larger cosmic weapon, one that will wreak havoc on our planetary system in ways we cannot fully understand? As 3 Atlas passes closer to the Sun and continues its trajectory through the inner solar system, we are left to wonder, is this the beginning of a process that will culminate in some kind of planetary or solar catastrophe? Could 3i Atlas be the first domino in a chain of events that will forever change the solar system? What makes this theory even more disturbing is the possibility that 3i Atlas is not acting alone. What if it is simply the first of many objects sent to infiltrate our solar system? If this object was engineered to trigger a chain of destabilizing events, could others be following in its wake? The very fact that 3 Atlas seems to have arrived with such precision, so perfectly timed to interact with certain planets in our solar system, suggests that it is part of a much larger and more coordinated effort, one that is operating on a timescale far beyond our own. The more we learn about 3i Atlas, the more it seems that this object is not just an interstellar visitor. It's a harbinger of something far more ominous. The fact that it behaves in ways that defy natural explanation, that it seems to be on a calculated course through our solar system, is enough to make any scientist question its true nature. Could it be that we are on the brink of discovering a force far beyond anything we've ever encountered before? One that could alter the entire balance of our solar system? As we continue to track 3i Atlas and analyse its movements, outgassing and strange behaviours, the possibility that this object is an interstellar weapon or part of a larger cosmic strategy becomes increasingly hard to ignore. Whether it is designed to destabilise, to transform, or to completely reshape our solar system, one thing is clear: the object is not here by accident. It is here for a reason, and that reason may be far more terrifying than we can imagine. As we stand at the precipice of this discovery, we can only ask one question: how close are we to uncovering its true, terrifying purpose? And when that truth is revealed, will we be able to stop the chain of events set into motion by this mysterious visitor from the stars? As 3 Atlas made its approach toward the inner solar system, anticipation among the scientific community reached a fever pitch. Observatories around the world were monitoring the object, and as it drew closer to Mars, the questions began to multiply. What was it? Where had it come from? Why was it behaving in ways that defied the normal rules of space physics? The world awaited answers, but as the object neared its closest approach, a troubling silence began to fall over NASA and other major space agencies. Critical data that could provide clarity on 3i Atlas's nature was withheld. Images that should have been publicly available were not shared. No major press conferences were held. No new revelations came from the institutions tasked with answering the world's burning questions. What was behind this unexpected silence? Why was NASA, in particular, refusing to release data about an object that was unlike anything the world had ever seen? The secrecy surrounding 3i Atlas's arrival sparked a wave of speculation. To the public, it seemed almost impossible to understand why NASA, the agency responsible for tracking space objects, would suddenly go silent when it was clear that this was no ordinary comet. Space agencies around the world, accustomed to sharing new discoveries with the public, were conspicuously quiet. Even amateur astronomers who had been tracking the object through their own telescopes were able to gather more information than the official channels. Why were they withholding this data? The reasons weren't immediately clear, but a sense of unease began to grow. In a normal scenario, when a new interstellar object enters the solar system, the scientific community scrambles to analyse it, releasing data to the public as quickly as possible. But with 3i Atlas, it seemed like a deliberate decision to keep critical information under wraps. The object's strange behaviour, its unexpected trajectory, its unexplainable outgassing, and its unusual green glow was enough to make anyone question whether there was something more at play. Was NASA withholding information because they didn't have the answers, or was there a more sinister reason for the silence? The most troubling possibility was that NASA, along with other space agencies, might be aware of something far more significant than they were letting on. Was 3i Atlas part of a much larger, far-reaching phenomenon, perhaps something that extended beyond the scope of human understanding. The object's behavior was unlike anything observed in the solar system, and the possibility that it could be a weapon or a probe from an advanced extraterrestrial civilization was hard to ignore. If that was the case, the agencies could have been hesitant to release information to avoid panic, or to prevent the public from learning of a potential threat they didn't fully understand. The secrecy seemed, in a way, almost justified in light of how much was still unknown about 3I Atlas. But then again, how much information was too much to withhold from the public? The world's curiosity about 3I Atlas continued to mount, but the silence persisted. Official statements from NASA were scarce, and when they did comment, it was often vague. Astronomers and researchers who had worked with the space agency's data noted that they had been given little more than surface-level information. It wasn't that the data didn't exist, it was that it was not being shared. Images from the Hubble Space Telescope, which had been tracking the object for months, were not made available to the public. There was no detailed analysis of the object's trajectory or its chemical composition. Instead, the world was left to rely on fragmented reports from a handful of independent astronomers and enthusiasts who were able to gather limited data on their own. This lack of transparency created an atmosphere of suspicion. For some, the silence was seen as a red flag, an indication that 3I Atlas might be something far more dangerous than a simple cosmic visitor. Could NASA and other space agencies be hiding the true nature of the object from the public to avoid widespread panic? Was there something about 3I Atlas that they were not prepared to reveal, something so unsettling that it would change the way humanity viewed its place in the cosmos? The more people pondered these questions, the more the theories began to grow. Some speculated that 3I Atlas was part of a larger alien reconnaissance mission, perhaps even a weapon designed to test or destabilize our solar system. Others believed it could be a piece of ancient technology, part of a far-reaching plan that spanned millions of years. And still, others wondered whether this silence was part of an elaborate cover-up, a way to keep humanity in the dark about a cosmic event that could fundamentally alter the course of history. As the months went by and 3I Atlas continued its path toward the Sun, the secrecy surrounding the object only deepened. NASA's refusal to share key data about the object prompted growing frustration and curiosity in the public sphere. Many were left asking, what is NASA really hiding? Could 3I Atlas be more than just a scientific curiosity? And if so, why isn't the world being told the full story? The object's strange behavior, combined with the agency's silence, only fueled the sense that something far more significant was unfolding just beyond our understanding. The truth about 3I Atlas remains elusive, and the silence surrounding it has only added to its mystery. Whether this silence is the result of genuine uncertainty, strategic caution, or something far darker, one thing is clear: the object has become a symbol of the unknown. As we continue to track its movements and attempt to decipher its purpose, the silence of NASA and other space agencies leaves the world wondering whether we are on the brink of a discovery that will change everything, or whether we are being kept in the dark for reasons we may never fully understand. As 3 Atlas continues its unprecedented journey through our solar system, the questions surrounding its origin grow ever more profound. The object's peculiar behavior, its strange trajectory, its unnatural outgassing, and the mysterious green glow has led scientists to theorize that 3I Atlas might not be a natural interstellar object at all. Instead, some are now suggesting that it could be an artificial construct, possibly sent by an advanced, alien civilization or even a remnant of an ancient force far beyond our understanding. But why is it here, and why now? The more we trace its path back through interstellar space, the more the idea emerges that 3I Atlas's arrival could be part of a much larger, far-reaching cosmic plan, one that might span millennia or even eons. The most compelling evidence pointing to 3 Atlas as a constructed object lies in its trajectory. Unlike most interstellar objects that simply drift through space, 3I Atlas's path seems too precise, too deliberate to be the result of natural forces. When astronomers first observed its movement through the solar system, they noticed that its trajectory wasn't random at all. Instead, it passed through key gravitational points, making calculated slingshot maneuvers around planets like Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. This kind of precision suggests a level of control far beyond the capabilities of a comet or asteroid. It was as though the object was deliberately placed on this path to interact with specific planets or gravitational forces. Could this trajectory be the result of intentional design? And if so, who or what would have been behind such a calculated movement? Some researchers believe that 3I Atlas may have been sent by an advanced alien civilization. If this is the case, then the object could be a probe, designed to observe, interact with, or even alter the solar system's balance. But why would such a civilization send a probe now, after so many millennia of silence? One possible explanation is that 3I Atlas is a reconnaissance mission, sent at a time when humanity is reaching a level of technological sophistication that might make us a potential threat or an interesting subject of study. The object's arrival, so perfectly timed with humanity's growing interest in space exploration and Mars colonization, could indicate that we are under surveillance by an intelligence far more advanced than our own. In this sense, 3I Atlas might be a tool for monitoring humanity's development, a passive observer of our technological evolution. But the idea of 3I Atlas as a probe sent by an alien race only scratches the surface of the mystery. Some scientists, particularly those looking into the object's strange characteristics and possible connection to ancient history, have suggested that 3I Atlas may not be the product of a distant alien civilization at all. Instead, it could be a remnant of an even older force, one that predates modern human civilization by millennia. Ancient texts and myths, from Sumerian legends of the Anunnaki to the Vedic writings of India, often speak of celestial beings who arrived from distant star systems, bringing knowledge and power to early civilizations. Could 3I Atlas be a piece of technology left behind by such beings, an artifact from a long-forgotten cosmic civilization that once shaped life on Earth and other planets? If this theory is correct, 3I Atlas could be far more than just a passing visitor. It might be a piece of an ancient, ongoing plan, a fragment of a much larger cosmic operation that spans vast stretches of time. The precision of its arrival and its strange, almost purposeful behavior might indicate that its purpose is more than just observational. Perhaps 3I Atlas is not here by accident, but has been set on a path that will eventually lead to the transformation of our solar system. Whether to prepare Mars for habitation, influence Earth's environment, or achieve some other unknown goal, the object's strange characteristics only add weight to this hypothesis. Its outgassing, which began long before it neared the Sun, suggests the presence of some hidden technology or mechanism inside 3I Atlas, something far beyond what a simple comet or asteroid would have. The green glow, which cannot be explained by natural phenomena, further suggests that the object is not merely a space rock, but a piece of ancient, sophisticated engineering. If it is indeed an ancient object, what does this mean for humanity? Could it be a warning, a signal, or a tool left behind by those who once controlled the fate of this solar system? And if 3I Atlas is part of a much larger cosmic plan, are we witnessing just the beginning of a transformation that will unfold over generations? As scientists continue to track 3I Atlas's movements, the question of its origin looms large. Is it a message from a distant alien civilization? A piece of ancient technology from a long-forgotten race? Or could it be something even more mysterious? An artifact that was sent to reshape our understanding of the universe and our place in it? The more we learn about 3I Atlas, the more it becomes clear that its arrival is not just a random cosmic event. It is part of something much larger, far more intricate, and far more profound than anyone could have imagined. As we continue to study this enigmatic object, the possibility grows that we're on the brink of discovering something that could change everything we think we know about space, time, and our role in the grand scheme of the cosmos. As 3I Atlas continues its mysterious passage through the solar system, the possibility that it could be a weapon, an interstellar device of unimaginable power, raises the stakes for global security to unprecedented heights. If 3I Atlas is indeed a weapon, the implications for military strategy, planetary defense, and international relations could be far-reaching, with consequences that could reshape the way humanity approaches space exploration and cosmic threats. The question is not just about the nature of the object, but how Earth's governments and militaries would react to the potential threat of an alien or cosmic weapon within our solar system. Could we defend ourselves against a force so advanced? Or would we be powerless in the face of an interstellar intelligence that could easily outmatch our current technologies? The very existence of 3i Atlas poses a challenge to our traditional understanding of military power. For centuries, the greatest threats to Earth's security have been terrestrial in nature, nations fighting for resources, geopolitical power struggles, and military tensions between world powers. But 3 Atlas, if it is indeed a weapon, introduces an entirely new paradigm. This is not a threat from a rogue nation, or even from an advanced civilization within our own star system. It is a cosmic weapon, one that may have travelled across interstellar distances with a singular mission. The weapon's sheer scale and the mysteries surrounding it would leave military strategists in a state of uncertainty, unsure of how to classify the object or what measures, if any, could be taken to neutralize it. The first and most pressing question would be, what is the purpose of 3i Atlas? If it is indeed a weapon, is it designed to destroy, destabilize, or merely observe? Some theorists have speculated that it could be a tool for surveillance, a means of monitoring the solar system and preparing for a larger intervention. Others believe it could be a weapon designed to alter the balance of power in our solar system, perhaps triggering events that would make Earth more vulnerable or even uninhabitable. The fact that the object appears to be moving with such precision, passing by key planets like Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, suggests that it is engaging in a highly calculated process, one that might be part of a much larger, more complex mission. Given the unprecedented nature of this threat, how would Earth's governments react? For starters, there would be an immediate and urgent response from the world's major space agencies, particularly NASA and the European Space Agency. However, this would likely be a delicate process, as the discovery of an interstellar weapon, especially one that appears to be capable of altering the very structure of our solar system, would create a diplomatic and military dilemma. The secrecy that has surrounded 3i Atlas, particularly NASA's reluctance to release key data, suggests that the governments of the world may already be grappling with how to deal with the object without inciting panic. They would need to balance transparency with national security, all while trying to understand the true nature of the threat. If the object is indeed an advanced weapon, it's likely that military forces across the globe would be placed on high alert. Space agencies would work hand in hand with the military, pooling resources and expertise in an attempt to learn more about the object's capabilities and intentions. The possibility of an alien or cosmic weapon in our midst would prompt the rapid acceleration of global defense initiatives, with militaries reassessing their strategies for space defense. Would traditional weapons be enough to counter an interstellar threat? Could Earth's military forces even defend against a weapon that may have been engineered by a civilization, with technology eons ahead of our own? One of the most frightening aspects of this potential weapon is the reality that humanity might not yet have the means to defend itself. Our current space defense capabilities are still in their infancy. While we have developed satellite technologies, asteroid detection systems, and missile defense systems, nothing in our arsenal is designed to intercept or defend against an object like 3i Atlas. The object's apparent ability to navigate the solar system with such precision suggests that its creators, whether they are from another star system or an ancient force, understand the dynamics of space far better than we do. In the face of such a powerful and unknown force, humanity would likely be forced to seek international cooperation, pooling resources and knowledge in an attempt to develop a defense strategy. The fear of a global destabilizing event, whether through the weaponization of 3i Atlas or its involvement in a larger cosmic plan, would unite nations in a way that is unprecedented in modern history. But even with the combined power of Earth's military forces and space agencies, the question remains, could we even comprehend how to fight back against an enemy with such advanced capabilities? Would we be able to develop countermeasures in time, or would we simply have to wait and see what 3 Atlas's true purpose is? At the heart of this dilemma is the uncomfortable realization that humanity, for all its advancements, may be woefully unprepared for a cosmic threat. The military implications of 3i Atlas are far more than a theoretical exercise. They represent a genuine vulnerability, one that forces humanity to confront its place in the universe. If 3i Atlas is a weapon, then we are not merely dealing with the unknown. We are facing the possibility that we are not alone in the cosmos, and that the universe is far more complex and potentially hostile than we ever imagined. As the object continues its journey through our solar system, the stakes grow higher. What happens next could redefine the course of human history, either as a testament to our ability to overcome an existential threat, or as a chilling reminder of how little we truly know about the universe beyond our reach. 3i Atlas is more than just a mystery. It is a stark reminder that the cosmos is full of forces beyond our control, and that the future of humanity may depend on how we respond to the unknown. The arrival of 3i Atlas and the growing possibility that it is an interstellar weapon, one that may have been monitoring our planet for millennia, poses an unsettling question. How would humanity react to the revelation that we're not alone in the universe, and that a powerful force has been watching us for far longer than we ever imagined? For centuries, the notion of extraterrestrial life has been confined to the realms of science fiction and speculative thought. But what if that speculation were to collide with reality? What would be the psychological toll of knowing that an intelligence far beyond our comprehension has been observing our every move, and that it might not have benevolent intentions? The implications of first contact with an extraterrestrial force are profound, and not just for our understanding of the universe, but for our collective psyche. For much of human history, we have viewed ourselves as the pinnacle of life in the cosmos. Our religions, philosophies, and even our scientific theories have placed us at the center of existence, assuming that humanity was unique in our capacity for reason, emotion, and technological advancement. The discovery of 3i Atlas as a potential weapon from a distant, possibly ancient civilization would force humanity to confront an uncomfortable truth. We are not the masters of the universe, and our place in the cosmic order may be far less significant than we have long believed. This realization could trigger a deep existential crisis on a global scale. The psychological impact of first contact with a force that has been watching us, perhaps even manipulating events behind the scenes, would challenge our understanding of free will, our sense of security, and our very identity. If 3i Atlas is indeed part of a larger plan, whether to test, alter, or destroy us, humanity would be left grappling with a terrifying question. Are we the masters of our own fate, or are we simply pawns in a much larger game that we cannot even begin to understand? In the immediate aftermath of such a discovery, the global reaction would likely be one of disbelief and confusion. Governments would scramble to issue statements, while space agencies would race to study 3i Atlas in greater detail. Yet their words might ring hollow in the face of such overwhelming uncertainty. The general public, already living in an age of information overload and uncertainty, would likely descend into chaos. Conspiracy theories would flourish, social media would be flooded with speculation, and the trust in established institutions would quickly erode. The collective sense of security that many people derive from the belief that humanity is in control of its own destiny would be shattered, leaving behind a sense of vulnerability and fear. At the same time, humanity's natural instinct for survival could also spark a unifying response. In the face of such an existential threat, people from all walks of life could come together, realizing that their differences are insignificant compared to the potential danger posed by this unknown force. This unity, however, might be fleeting. As the full scale of the threat becomes clearer, nations may begin to turn inward, prioritizing their own survival over collective cooperation. Would we band together in the face of this cosmic weapon, or would the psychological toll of such knowledge fracture our societies even further? In times of crisis, humanity has often displayed both remarkable resilience and a deep-seated tendency to fall into fear-driven conflict. The fear and panic that could arise from learning that we are being monitored and perhaps manipulated by a force far beyond our understanding would be hard to contain. As the evidence mounts that 3i Atlas is not just an observer but an active agent in a much larger, potentially hostile plan, the sense of cosmic isolation could drive people to despair. If humanity is not alone in the universe, it would mean that we are part of a much larger and far more dangerous reality, one in which we are no longer the dominant force. The psychological weight of that realization could lead to feelings of powerlessness, hopelessness, and existential dread. For those who have spent their lives contemplating the possibility of extraterrestrial life, the reality of first contact might trigger a range of emotions: excitement, fear, awe, and terror. The intellectual curiosity that many feel about the cosmos could be replaced by a deep sense of foreboding. The dream of intergalactic exploration of making peaceful contact with advanced civilizations might give way to the nightmare of discovering that the universe is filled with beings and forces far more advanced and dangerous than we ever imagined. The hope of finding allies in the stars could quickly be overshadowed by the reality that we might have made contact with a force that views us as insignificant or worse, as an obstacle to its larger goals. As 3 Atlas draws nearer to its closest point in the solar system, the psychological impact on humanity will only intensify. If the object is truly a weapon, the question will no longer be whether we are alone, but whether we are prepared for the consequences of that realization. Humanity will be forced to confront not just the possibility of extraterrestrial life, but the terrifying notion that we might be at the mercy of a far more powerful intelligence. The anxiety of living under the constant threat of an unseen cosmic force would weigh heavily on the collective consciousness, and how we choose to face this new reality will determine not just our survival, but our ability to redefine ourselves in the face of a universe far more complex and far more dangerous than we ever imagined. First contact, in whatever form it might take, will change everything. And as humanity grapples with the existential crisis that comes with that knowledge, the question remains, will we descend into chaos, or will we rise to meet the challenge, united by the shared understanding that we're no longer alone in the universe? As 3i Atlas continues its approach toward the Sun, the growing complexity of its presence suggests something far more intricate than a simple interstellar visitor. Every observation, every anomaly surrounding the object, paints a picture that cannot be easily dismissed. The trajectory, the outgassing, the green glow, each of these points raises the unsettling possibility that 3i Atlas is not just a random space rock passing through our solar system, but a calculated piece of a much larger cosmic agenda. Could it be that 3i Atlas is merely one part of an incomprehensible, long-term plan, one that spans eons, not decades, and that humanity is unwittingly caught in the middle of it? If this theory holds any weight, the arrival of 3i Atlas could mark just the beginning of a transformation that will unfold over millennia, altering the very fabric of our solar system. The idea of a cosmic agenda, orchestrated by forces far beyond our current understanding, is not new. Throughout history, civilizations have told stories of gods, celestial beings, and cosmic forces shaping the destiny of planets and species. In some of the most ancient texts, including the Sumerian and Vedic writings, we find references to powerful beings who came from the stars, bringing knowledge and often altering the course of life on Earth. Could it be that 3i Atlas is a remnant of this ancient plan, a piece of a larger cosmic puzzle that has been slowly unfolding for eons? The precision of 3i Atlas's journey suggests that this is no accidental visitor. Its calculated trajectory, which brings it near key planets like Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, hints at a much larger purpose, one that goes beyond mere observation. The object seems to be interacting with the gravitational forces of these planets, altering its course and possibly gathering data. Could it be that 3i Atlas is surveying these planets, laying the groundwork for a much larger operation? What if its true purpose is not to pass through, but to set in motion a series of events that will reshape the entire solar system, transforming it for reasons beyond our understanding? The question of why 3i Atlas has arrived at this particular moment is just as perplexing. Why now, when humanity is on the brink of becoming a spacefaring species, with our eyes set on Mars and the stars? Could it be that the time has come for a long-standing plan to come to fruition? If 3i Atlas is indeed part of a much larger agenda, it might be acting as the precursor to a series of events that will unfold over the coming centuries. The object's proximity to Mars, the planet that has long been a subject of speculation regarding ancient life and potential colonization, suggests that Mars could be a central focus of this cosmic plan. Perhaps 3i Atlas's arrival is meant to alter the Martian environment, to prepare it for habitation or transformation by some unknown force. Yet the object's behavior raises more questions than it answers. Its outgassing, which began long before it reached the inner solar system, indicates the presence of a sophisticated mechanism within the object itself. This could be evidence of technology far more advanced than anything humanity has developed, technology designed to facilitate the transformation of the solar system. If 3i Atlas is indeed part of a larger agenda, could it be that this technology is merely one tool in a vast arsenal, part of a cosmic strategy to subtly influence the planets of the solar system over an unfathomably long timeline. The most disturbing possibility is that humanity may not be the intended beneficiaries of this cosmic plan. 3i Atlas's role in the solar system could be far less about our development and more about the manipulation of the planets and resources for purposes that we cannot yet understand. The green glow emitted by the object, which has defied conventional explanations, might be a signal, a form of communication or activation linked to the greater purpose behind its presence. Could the object's arrival and its strange deliberate behavior be a signal that the process of transformation is about to begin? If 3i Atlas is a tool in a cosmic agenda, then its arrival might signal the commencement of a series of events that will lead to the reshaping of the solar system, whether we like it or not. The idea that 3i Atlas is part of a long-term cosmic strategy raises uncomfortable questions about our place in the universe. Are we merely pawns in a game that spans the cosmos, the subjects of a plan that has been unfolding for millennia? Could we be witnessing the final stages of a transformation that has been in motion long before humanity ever looked to the stars? The implications are staggering, and they challenge everything we know about free will, control, and the nature of our existence. As 3 Atlas continues its journey toward the sun, the world watches, waiting for more answers. But the more we learn, the more it becomes clear. This is no simple comet. 3i Atlas is a key piece in a much larger cosmic puzzle, one that could alter the course of our solar system forever. Whether humanity is an active participant in this plan or a passive observer remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: the arrival of 3i Atlas is the beginning of a new chapter in the story of our solar system, and the consequences of that chapter are still unfolding. As we stand on the precipice of this cosmic revelation, the future of humanity and our place in the universe has never seemed more uncertain. As 3i Atlas nears its closest approach to the sun, the world holds its collective breath, watching closely as the object makes its way toward perihelion, the point in its orbit where it will come closest to our star. This moment, long anticipated, will mark a crucial turning point in our understanding of 3i Atlas, and perhaps the universe itself. As the object's trajectory brings it to this pivotal juncture, we are left to ask, what happens next? Will 3 Atlas fulfill the purpose it has seemingly been designed for, or will it continue on its way, leaving us to wonder what it was all about? The stakes couldn't be higher. For months, scientists have tracked 3 Atlas, observing its strange outgassing patterns, its unusual shape, and its unnerving green glow. Each of these anomalies has only deepened the mystery surrounding the object, suggesting that it is not just an ordinary comet or asteroid, but something far more significant. Whether it is an ancient probe, a weapon, or a piece of a larger cosmic plan, the moment it reaches perihelion will be the moment of truth. Will it reveal its purpose, or will it pass through the solar system like so many other interstellar objects before it, leaving us with more questions than answers? The critical moment comes as 3i Atlas reaches its closest point to the sun. The intensity of its interaction with the sun's radiation will likely trigger a new phase of activity within the object. If it is, as some suggest, a piece of advanced technology, perihelion could be the moment when it activates, either to complete its mission or to communicate with whoever or whatever sent it. Scientists are particularly interested in how the object will behave as it gets closer to the sun, since most comets typically start to exhibit their brightest activity during this phase. But unlike the typical cometary outgassing driven by heat, the strange emissions from 3i Atlas have already begun, far beyond the sun's reach. So, the question remains, will it suddenly reveal more about its inner workings, or will it continue to surprise us in ways we can't yet predict? One of the most unsettling aspects of 3i Atlas is its unpredictability. Despite months of observations, we still don't fully understand the mechanisms behind its behavior. It seems to defy every expectation, behaving more like an object with purpose and intent than a random visitor from another star system. This has led to speculation that 3i Atlas is part of a much larger, far-reaching plan, one that could be revealed when the object reaches perihelion. Could this be the moment when we finally learn the truth about its mission? Or will it continue to remain a mystery, slipping past the sun and disappearing into the depths of space without leaving any clear answers behind? The object's close pass by the sun also raises the question of how it might interact with the solar system. If 3i Atlas is, as some suggest, a weapon or a device designed to manipulate planetary bodies, perihelion could be the key moment for it to activate its intended purpose. Could its arrival at this moment in history be linked to a larger cosmic event, perhaps the beginning of a transformation in the solar system that we are not prepared for? If 3i Atlas is part of an ancient plan to alter the course of our planetary system, perihelion could be the moment when we begin to see its effects unfold. The influence of 3i Atlas on the planets, especially Mars, may not be something that happens in an instant, but rather a slow process that begins with this close approach. What happens when the object interacts with the Sun's gravity and radiation? Could it alter the orbits of the planets, or could it be designed to trigger some kind of cosmic event that reshapes our solar system? If 3i Atlas does not engage in some sort of dramatic action when it reaches perihelion, we will be left to wonder whether it was truly a weapon, a probe, or something else entirely. The sheer complexity of the object's behaviour suggests that there is more to it than meets the eye. Could it be that the purpose of 3i Atlas is not immediately visible to us? Perhaps it has been sent as part of a much longer cosmic timetable, where its true significance will only be understood in hindsight. As 3i Atlas draws nearer to the Sun, the world will be watching closely, waiting for some sign, some indication that we're not just witnessing the passage of a random space rock, but the first glimpse of something far larger, more significant, and far more mysterious. The critical moment when 3i Atlas reaches perihelion could mark a turning point for humanity, an event that forces us to reckon with our place in the universe, and the possibility that we are not alone. Whether it will fulfill its purpose or leave us with even more questions is still uncertain. But one thing is clear: whatever happens when 3i Atlas reaches perihelion, it will forever change our understanding of the cosmos and our place within it. As 3i Atlas completes its passage through our solar system and begins its journey back into the depths of interstellar space, one undeniable truth remains: Earth will never be the same again. The object's presence, its strange behaviour, and the mysteries it presented have irrevocably altered our understanding of the cosmos. Whether it was a weapon sent to destabilize our solar system, a probe designed to observe us, or something even more incomprehensible, its passage has had a profound impact on humanity. The aftermath of 3i Atlas's visit will echo through the years, reshaping the trajectory of our scientific endeavours, our understanding of life beyond Earth, and our place in the universe. One of the most immediate consequences of 3i Atlas's passage is the seismic shift it causes in the way we think about space and the possibility of extraterrestrial intelligence. For centuries, the question of whether we are alone in the universe has lingered in the minds of scientists, philosophers, and dreamers alike. But 3i Atlas challenges the very notion that we are solitary inhabitants of a vast, empty cosmos. Its arrival forces us to confront the possibility that we are not just one species among many, but potentially part of a far larger and more complex cosmic network. The object, with its enigmatic behaviour and unexplained characteristics, suggests that there are forces at work beyond our current understanding, forces that may have been influencing the fate of our planet long before we ever looked to the stars. The idea of intelligent life, or at least of intelligence far beyond our own, has suddenly moved from the realm of science fiction to a terrifying and exhilarating reality. This new reality will be felt most acutely in the field of space exploration. 3i Atlas's visit has already altered the way we approach our study of the cosmos. The anomalies it presented, from its unusual trajectory to its mysterious outgassing, will require scientists to re-evaluate the very way they classify and study interstellar objects. As we continue to study the object's passing, it will become clear that the boundaries of our understanding were far too narrow. We will need to develop new technologies, new methods of observation, and new theories to accommodate the possibility that objects like 3i Atlas are not rare accidents, but potentially part of a much larger, complex system of interstellar travel and communication. Humanity's journey into space will no longer be about mere exploration. It will be about survival, about learning to understand and defend against forces far beyond our current capabilities. The shockwaves from 3i Atlas's passage will reverberate through the halls of every space agency, forcing them to shift their priorities and strategies. Perhaps the most profound effect, however, will be felt in the collective psyche of humanity. The realization that we are not alone in the universe, and that we may not even be the dominant species in our own solar system, will trigger an existential reckoning. For centuries, humanity has considered itself the apex of life, a species capable of shaping its own destiny. But 3 Atlas's arrival challenges this assumption in a way that no discovery ever has. If the object was a weapon, a probe, or even a piece of technology left by an ancient civilization, it suggests that we are not the masters of our fate, but rather a small part of a much larger, incomprehensible cosmic plan. This realization will stir a profound identity crisis on a global scale. Are we truly the masters of our planet, or are we mere players in a game far beyond our comprehension? And if there are other forces at play, what role do we have in the grand scheme of the universe? In the aftermath of 3 Atlas's passage, humanity will be forced to rethink its place in the cosmic order. The question of extraterrestrial life will no longer be a theoretical debate. It will be a reality that must be faced head-on. The implications of this new understanding will permeate every aspect of life on Earth, from politics to religion, from science to culture. Governments may be forced to address the implications of this knowledge, either by revealing what they know about extraterrestrial life, or by grappling with the growing demand for transparency and truth. In a world already divided by political, social, and economic strife, the discovery that we are not alone could either unite humanity or push us further into chaos. The scientific community too will be forever changed. The study of the cosmos will no longer be limited to looking for life in distant exoplanets or analysing the chemical makeup of distant stars. It will become a race to understand the forces at work in our own solar system, to study the technologies and behaviours of interstellar objects, and to develop the means to protect ourselves from potential threats. Space agencies will need to accelerate efforts to establish a more robust planetary defence system, one that can defend not only against asteroids, but potentially against extraterrestrial forces. The focus will shift from curiosity-driven exploration to survival-driven innovation. The passage of 3I Atlas will also leave a lasting impact on how we approach the future of space exploration. Humanity's aspirations to colonize Mars, to explore the outer planets, and to reach for the stars will be tempered by the realization that space is not an empty, uninhabited frontier. We are not alone, and there are far older and far more advanced forces out there, watching, waiting, and perhaps guiding the evolution of our solar system in ways we're only beginning to understand. As the object vanishes into the vastness of space, it leaves behind a legacy that will shape humanity's future for generations to come. The questions it has raised, about our place in the universe, about the nature of intelligence, and about the forces that govern the cosmos, will continue to haunt us. And as we look to the stars in the wake of 3 Atlas's passage, we are left with one inescapable truth. The universe is far more complex, far more dangerous, and far more alive than we ever imagined. As 3 Atlas fades into the depths of space, its once imposing presence gradually becoming a distant memory, the most unsettling question lingers in the minds of humanity. Who or what is out there, watching, waiting, and possibly guiding the future of our species? The object's strange behaviour, its calculated trajectory, its mysterious outgassing, and the chilling possibility that it was a weapon or a probe, has forever changed our understanding of the universe and our place in it. But as 3I Atlas slips into the vastness beyond our solar system, it leaves behind an unsettling uncertainty. Is Earth truly alone, or are we just a small part of something much larger, something beyond our current comprehension? The arrival of 3I Atlas triggered a series of profound revelations. We were forced to confront the possibility that we are not the dominant force in the universe, that the solar system we have long considered our home may not be as solitary as we once thought. The notion that we could be the target of cosmic forces far beyond our control, the possibility that the object was sent by an ancient intelligence or a more advanced civilization, was a staggering blow to our perception of reality. As the object moves further away from us, the questions it raised remain unanswered, but they linger in the back of our minds, stirring doubts and fears. If 3I Atlas was just a piece of a much larger cosmic plan, who is behind it? And what does their interest in our solar system mean for the future of humanity? Perhaps the most disturbing possibility is the thought that we are being observed, watched, by an intelligence so advanced that it operates on a scale beyond our understanding. If 3i Atlas is part of a larger strategy, its true purpose may have been to test, observe, or even manipulate humanity's development. But who or what is behind this plan? Could it be an ancient race that predates our own species, whose influence has shaped the course of history in ways we are only now beginning to uncover? Or is it an intelligence from a far-off star system, with a much broader agenda, sending probes and devices to monitor and guide the evolution of our solar system? The possibility that we are part of something much larger than ourselves is both awe-inspiring and terrifying. It raises the existential question: are we simply players in a cosmic game, unwittingly following a path set out for us by beings far more powerful than we can imagine? Or do we have the agency to shape our own future, independent of the influences from other worlds? The unsettling truth is that we may never fully know the answers. The entities behind 3i Atlas, if they exist, are likely operating on a timescale, and with technologies so advanced that they are beyond our comprehension. Their motives, their goals, and their ultimate plans may remain hidden from us, leaving us to wonder whether we are merely pawns in a much larger, incomprehensible strategy. As 3i Atlas recedes into the cosmos, humanity is left to grapple with the realization that the universe is far more complex and potentially far more dangerous than we ever imagined. The idea that we could be part of something much larger, something orchestrated by forces we cannot perceive, challenges the very foundation of our understanding of existence. It forces us to confront our own vulnerability, the terrifying thought that we may be unable to fully grasp the forces at play around us. Are we truly alone, or have we been part of a plan that began long before we were even aware of it? The search for answers will continue, but the questions left by 3i Atlas will persist, gnawing at the edges of our collective consciousness. As we continue to look to the stars, we must ask ourselves, what if we are not the first to reach for the cosmos? What if we are merely following in the footsteps of civilizations long gone, their influence still felt through the passage of objects like 3i Atlas? The possibility that we are part of a much larger cosmic narrative, one that stretches far beyond our own understanding, is both humbling and terrifying. And so, as 3i Atlas fades into the dark abyss of space, the questions it has raised remain, unanswered and unresolved. We are left with one inescapable thought: Earth may not be as isolated as we once believed. We may not be alone, and the forces that have shaped our solar system, and perhaps our destiny, may be watching, waiting, and guiding us in ways we cannot even begin to comprehend. The journey that began with the arrival of 3i Atlas has left us at a crossroads, one that forces us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about the universe, our place within it, and the mysterious entities that may be watching us from the stars. That's it for now, but the story of 3i Atlas is far from over. Drop a comment with your theories and hit subscribe, because who knows what we might uncover next.